I betrayed my best friend in the worst way possible. I ruined her happiness and destroyed her trust, because if I hadn't, she might not be here today. Hey, everyone. I'm Emma, 27 years old, and I've been best friends with Rachel since we were 10. She's the kind of person who lights up a room just by walking in, always optimistic, always kind. Just this genuinely good person who doesn't deserve anything bad happening to her. And maybe that's why I did what I did. I'm not saying I'm proud of it, but I don't know if I could have done anything differently. And now, I need to know if I'm the villain in this story, or if I was just someone who had no choice. Rachel met Jake, her husband, 4 years ago. He was charming, handsome, successful, all the things you'd want in a partner. At first, I thought he was perfect for her. She was so happy when they got married last year, and I was happy for her too. But then, things started shifting. Rachel became quieter. She wasn't her usual bubbly self. She started canceling plans, giving vague excuses, and brushing off my concerns with that fake, everything's fine smile that I know all too well. One night she came over to my apartment and I could tell she'd been crying. She told me Jake had been under a lot of stress at work, and that he'd started drinking more than usual. She said he wasn't himself, that he'd snapped at her a few times, but it's not like that, Emma. He's just stressed. He loves me. But deep down I knew something was wrong. A few months later, I accidentally saw the proof I was dreading. Rachel left her phone on my couch while she went to the bathroom, and a text notification popped up. It was from Jake. "I'm sorry for last night. Please don't tell anyone. You know I didn't mean it." My stomach dropped. I didn't want to invade her privacy, but I couldn't stop myself. I opened the message thread. The texts were all apologies from Jake, and Rachel's responses were filled with excuses for him. "It's okay, I know you're stressed. I shouldn't have made you upset. I'll try harder not to push your buttons." And then the one that made my blood run cold, "It's just a bruise. It'll heal." I confronted Rachel that night. I told her I knew, that she didn't have to hide it from me. She broke down and admitted everything. Jake had been drinking more, losing his temper, and a few months ago he'd shoved her during an argument. Then last week, he slapped her. She kept defending him. "He's not a bad person, Emma. He's just going through a rough patch. He promised he'd get help." I begged her to leave him. I offered to let her stay with me to help her in any way I could, but she refused. She said she loved him, that he was her husband, and she couldn't just walk away. That's when I realized that talking wasn't going to be enough. I know people are going to judge me for this, but I didn't see another way. I started digging into Jake's life. I found out he'd been cheating on Rachel with a woman from his office. I didn't tell Rachel right away. I knew that wouldn't be enough to make her leave him. Instead, I gathered proof. Screenshots of their texts, photos of them together at a hotel. And then, I set a trap. I invited Rachel over for dinner, pretending it was just a casual girls' night. While we were eating, I accidentally left my laptop open on the kitchen counter with the photos of Jake and his mistress displayed. Rachel saw them. She froze, staring at the screen, and then turned to me with this look of utter betrayal. "How could you do this?" she whispered. I told her the truth, that I'd found out about Jake's affair, and that I was only showing her because I wanted her to leave him. She screamed at me, called me a liar, said I was trying to ruin her marriage out of jealousy. She stormed out, and for a moment, I thought I'd lost her forever. A few days later, Rachel called me. Her voice was shaky, and I could tell she'd been crying. She admitted that she confronted Jake about the affair, and he confessed everything. He also got violent again. This time he threw a glass at her, and it shattered against the wall next to her head. That was the breaking point for her. She packed her bags and left. Rachel is staying with her parents now, and she's filed for divorce. She's also started therapy, which I'm so relieved about. But our friendship, it's not the same. She hasn't forgiven me for what I did. She said I manipulated her, that I broke her trust, and that I had no right to interfere in her marriage. I don't know if she'll ever forgive me, and honestly, I don't know if I'd do anything differently if I had the chance. So, that's where I'm at. I ruined my best friend's marriage to save her from a man who was hurting her, but now I've lost her trust, and maybe even our friendship in the process. Was I wrong to do what I did? Should I have stayed out of it and let her make her own decisions, even if it meant watching her get hurt? Or did I do the right thing, even if it cost me everything? Update. It's been a year since that night when I showed Rachel the truth. A year since I shattered her marriage and possibly our friendship. Things haven't gone the way I expected or hoped. Rachel eventually moved back into the city. She found a small apartment and started rebuilding her life. She's working full-time again and even started painting, something she hadn't done since college. From the outside, it looks like she's thriving, but between us, things are still strained. She talks to me, but it's different. There's a wall between us now. She never outright says she resents me, but her actions speak volumes. She doesn't confide in me the way she used to. She keeps me at arm's length, and I feel like I've been demoted from best friend to acquaintance. One evening, out of the blue, Rachel called me. Her voice was calm but distant. "Emma, I need to talk to you. Can we meet for coffee tomorrow?" I agreed, feeling a mix of hope and dread. I thought maybe this was the moment she'd finally forgive me, or at least try to patch things up. When we met, she looked different, stronger. She had this confidence about her that I hadn't seen in years, but her words hit me like a punch to the gut. "I wanted to let you know that Jake reached out to me." I froze. He apologized. He said he's been going to therapy and working on himself. He wants to meet up and talk, and I think I might do it. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything he'd done to her, cheating, lying, hurting her, she was considering letting him back into her life. "Rachel, are you serious? After all that, you're going to give him another chance?" I tried to keep my voice calm, but I could feel the anger bubbling up. She sighed. "It's not like that, Emma. I'm not saying I'll get back together with him. I want closure. I want to hear him out." I wanted to scream. I wanted to shake her and make her see how dangerous this was. But I didn't. Instead, I just said, "I hope you know what you're doing." Rachel met with Jake. She told me about it afterward, and it was like reopening an old wound. He cried, apologized, begged for forgiveness. He said he'd changed. And Rachel, she believed him. She didn't take him back, but she said she could see that he was genuinely trying to be better. "People can change, Emma," she told me. "I know you don't believe it, but I do." It felt like a slap in the face. After everything I'd done to protect her, after the friendship I'd sacrificed, she was letting him back into her life, even if just a little. A few weeks later, Rachel invited me out to her apartment. She said she wanted to clear the air between us. I thought this was it, the moment we'd finally worked through everything. But when I got there, Jake was there too. I felt like I'd walked into a nightmare. Rachel introduced him like he was some distant acquaintance, not the man who had nearly destroyed her. I couldn't believe she'd put me in the same room as him without warning me. I didn't stay long. I made some excuse about needing to leave and practically ran out the door. Later that night, Rachel called me. She was furious. "You didn't have to be so rude, Emma. I was trying to give us a chance to move forward." "Move forward?" I snapped. "You think I want to move forward with him in the picture? After everything I did to get him out of your life, you're just going to let him back in? Do you even realize what that feels like?" Rachel went quiet for a moment. Then she said something I'll never forget. "You didn't do it for me, Emma. You did it for yourself. You couldn't stand seeing me in a situation you couldn't control. You didn't save me. You took away my choice. And now you're mad because I'm taking it back." Her words hit me harder than I expected. Was she right? Had I done it for her or for myself? Had I been trying to protect her, or had I been trying to feel like the hero in a story where I wasn't even the main character? I haven't spoken to Rachel since that night. It's been 3 months, and the silence between us feels heavier than any argument ever could. So here I am again, asking myself, and all of you, if I was wrong. I thought I was saving my best friend, but maybe I crossed the line I shouldn't have. Rachel seems happy now, or at least at peace. She's still not back with Jake, but they talk occasionally. She says it's helping her heal. As for me, I've lost the one person I cared about most, and the worst part is, I don't even know if I'd change what I did. Maybe Rachel was right. Maybe I didn't trust her to make her own decisions. Maybe I overstepped. Or maybe I saved her life, and she just can't see it yet. What do you think? Was I the villain all along, or was I the only one who did what needed to be done? I guess I'll leave that for you to decide.